So this is Jimmy Brown with Brownstone Custom Cabinetry, and today I want to talk about chemically treating wood with high tannins so that you can artificially age them and get the proper color that you would like. I've done a video on this before, but I want to talk about, because some of the people asked about like the ratios that I use to make it happen. And there are also some safety procedures that I sort of want to talk about so you can safely do your woodworking. The reason why you would want to use chemical treatment to color your wood instead of dyes or stains is that the water which holds the lye chemically changes the wood. And this is going to make it age in a way that is sort of difficult to tell that it was done by something other than age. When you chemically treat the lye has a chance to penetrate deeper into the wood, which means that when you're sanding it back because you raised the grain or you need to make any corrections, number one, it's deeper into the wood, so you don't have to worry about cutting through the coloration. And the second thing is that it allows you to make touch-ups that are almost invisible because you're chemically changing the wood, but only with the tannins that are in the wood. So it's only going to change so much. You don't have to worry about going over it twice and making a deeper color or a richer color. So what you need in order to do this is some lye, which drain cleaner is lye. You know, it's a strong base is basically in a jar to mix it in. And for safety's sake, you're gonna need an acid.
The reason you need an acid is to contradict the base if it gets on your hands. Lye on your hands causes your hand to turn into soap. You won't feel the reaction. If you get any lye on your hands, or you feel as if you got lye on your hands, apply vinegar and rinse with soap and cool water.
So have this ready, and if anything feels wet, just stop and put some vinegar on your hands and you'll be fine. So tap warm water, 2 tablespoons, drop it in, stir it, and then don't worry about it. Your stainless steel utensils are gonna be fine. So if you stir it in, drop it in some water. If you need to, you can put a little bit of vinegar in the water and you're fine. That's how you make the preparation. Leave the lid off because again, it is exothermic. You can feel the heat coming off of this, and the stronger you make your solution, the stronger that exothermic reaction is going to be. And really that's all you need for this portion of it. Once this settles down, give it maybe 10 or 20 minutes, and this stores indefinitely. You know, you can use this for years. So we'll come back and I'll show you how to apply it to the wood, the change that it makes, and then I'll show you how to sand it and see if you're sanding through them sort of problems that happens. And I think that'll be a pretty cool thing. Here's how it works. And if you'll notice, like I said, this works chemically, so you don't have to be as cautious of overlay as you do with lye. See, I went over that again, but it didn't get any darker because I'm actually affecting the tannins in the wood. If, like I do this right here, I could just go over it, and by the time that it soaks in, it'll all be the same color. Which also means that if you get a problem area like this that you didn't get on the first pass, it's not like it's going to make that big of a difference. As you can see, all of this is up here, but I don't have to worry about that. I can just come back and go over it. And because we're doing it chemically instead of with color, it's going to blend right in because it's affecting the tannins in the wood, not putting color on the wood. See, this is clear and this is turning red. So really the only thing that you have to do is just make sure that you don't go against the grain. Because always with wood, if you go against the grain, you're going to get some variation in your grain. I use the brush to put the majority of it on just because it's quicker for me. But you can certainly just use a rag like you see me doing here. You saw the brush before. But with the brush you lose a lot less. And if you guys have ever stained before, you'll notice how quickly this is going and how little material I'm using. Because again, we're working with the actual colors of the wood that are in the wood and not adding color to the wood. And that's it. You can see in the areas that I had to go back and get, there's not much variation. So this is just how you color wood chemically. Let it dry,
over here and you can see how this will dry. Now, right over here, you see that I didn't get all of that, right? So what I'm gonna do is go right back over it, and this is, one of the reasons why this is such a good technique, because even though I've got this all the way colored, I could just hit this area right here, and when that dries, it's not gonna add any more color to it. So it's not like I ruined it because I went over this. You're not gonna be able to see the difference because there's only so much tannins in the wood, and those tannins will, once they play out, they play out. So you can see right here where it's drying a little bit because there's so much wind going through the shop, and you can see it's going right back to the color that we had. And just to prove that point, I'm gonna do one more thing. I'm gonna take some of this compressed air, and I'm gonna real quick force dry this. Where I'm force drying it, the color matches. So there's your reason why you do this. Okay, so we're back the second day, and you can see I've got all of my wood colored, and I want to show you the sanding because the proof's in the pudding. So on my block here, I've got some 180 grit sandpaper. That's pretty high for when you're doing finishing sanding, but because this was a water-based chemical treatment, it did raise the grain on the wood, and so we have to knock it back. But you'll notice that I'm not being especially gentle. And that is the wonderful part about doing a chemical treatment on wood. Because it goes so deeply in the wood, like I sort of said before, you can really rough it up during the finishing process. Like if this had been stained, there's no way we could have done it, this roughly. We would have cut through the stain, especially on these corners. If any of you guys have done any, standing and finishing, you know that those corners are cut through exceptionally easy. But right here, just bang it up, and it really doesn't matter. Let me move my finger. So here we go. All I'm doing is cutting the fibers on this wood that we raised during the water, when the water went to it. And I'm also gonna fill, because at this point, the lye is mostly used up by the tannins, so we don't have to worry so much about, it eating through the fat in our skin. So I'm using my fingertips to tell me what needs additional sanding. If it feels smooth, it is smooth. And while you're here looking, I'm just gonna go ahead and spray this real quick. Just use your mask. And I'm just gonna spray. Excuse me. Come your way. Now, the only reason why I feel even halfway okay about doing this is because I'm using this downdraft paper. And, excuse me. Come over here. Where you are. See it?